Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Announcements first. Marian's announcement, he'll no longer be able to join these calls. It clashes with the working group for the multi-large initiative. So hopefully we'll get, well, I'll make sure we get input from that group, but we'll have to make do without him for now. I'm also going to be out on Friday and Monday, so take a few days off. Yurik?
Oh yeah, it's just a reminder there.
Cool. Great.
What is multi-large? Sorry.
So I can give you the super brief. As far as I understand it, I'll have to get you a better. Maybe it'll be a good discussion point for next week. I'll do a load of research. As far as I understand it, it's a like a strategic thing that we want to do to be able to allow, essentially, I think it's like white labeled customers. So you'd have like a large customer on a kind of isolated .com instance in a sense. So quite interesting. Definitely would mean some interesting stuff from releases. So nothing this year, so don't panic. Like it's in the pipeline for like next year, I think. So, but I will actually get you a proper answer to that. That's my impressions of it. Super hazy. Like, it's a thing along these lines. Cool. Cool. Okay. So I want to give you a heads up that Q3 OKRs are in progress. So couple of things around this. So the first one is actually the second point I've linked here. So MTTP is being proposed to be upgraded as a KPI. And that's because it's like a key metric really for all of infrastructure. It's been tracked for a while now, and it's stable and nicely tracking. So that's being proposed to be upgraded as a KPI. And then our Q3 OKR will be around removing manual points within our pipeline. So like theoretically right now we could gamify our MTTP OKR by just like starting our deployments a good long while earlier, but that's not really in the essence of what we're trying to drive for, right? So really what we want is a fully automated pipeline that we can then speed up and run. So we'll be working towards removing manual steps from our pipeline. That stuff will all be finalized for the department next week, latest, maybe even this week. And then what we'll do early, so we'll work out like, what exactly, how will we track this stuff? Like what sort of work will we doing? What's our roadmap look like? And early August, as we go into Q3, we'll also have a look back and see how did we get on with our Q2 goals as well. So it'll be sort of tracking progress there as well. Cool. Any questions on OKRs? It's a little bit of a different way, I think, that we've done it this time versus what I hear happened in March. So cool. So the next thing I want to bring up was around hot patches. So today's been interesting. Super awesome, Jeff, to see your hot patcher pipeline stuff all go on. Really great feedback on documentation and stuff. What I was aware of was just how once the hot patch is out, that's invisibly, I guess, to everyone else, blocks our pipeline, which was surprising, I think, to everybody else who was involved, so everyone outside of delivery. So I think so my question really is like, how do we make that stuff visible within our team, but also to other people, so we can handle this stuff? So Jav, do you want to just talk us through what you've written down here?
Yeah, I mean, this is an artifact of us just slamming Unix patch files using the BSD patcher tool, just slam patch files on the fleet. It's always been discussed that maybe we could just try to apply patches to future versions, and oftentimes this is okay. And I think the reason why we don't do that is that we're always a bit nervous that we may cause problems. I mean, we are in essence just applying patches sort of blindly and trusting that they, apply, and without a definitive version. Like if we're not applying the patch to the same version that the patch was generated from, I think we open ourselves up to a risk there. So this was less of an issue. I mean, a lot of this comes out of when we were doing deployments to production only 4 times a month. We'd be sitting on a version on production for a pretty long time. So it made a lot of sense to slam these patch files on production, and then, because it was a lot slower. Now it seems like it's almost, we can almost get not quite get a build to production as fast as we can hot patch, but it's much better than it used to be. So I don't know. We have always thought that the patch, like this whole patch file stuff business, will go away when we go to Kubernetes, but I don't know. That could depend on how fast we can get new images built and also, deployed to the cluster. I think the deployment part is fairly quick. The building part, maybe we have the similar issues there. So I'm not sure. I don't really have a good answer here, other than, like I suggested in this comment, like the input to the patcher could be an MR or a branch, and then the patcher could have more intelligence and just create a patch file more dynamically. The issue with that is, we need to make sure our source is like not GitLab.com. It would need to be dev or ops. Then, it becomes an issue of, okay, the developer needs to create the branch on dev or ops, so then they need access. We've been taking away dev access to developers. So anyway, that was a lot of rambling. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts. I guess not.
I was wondering if it might even be a case. So the thing that really worried me, I guess, was that that we actually won't necessarily be involved in hot patches, right? Which in some ways is amazing and great. In other ways, it's a bit scary. So I wonder if it's almost just some visibility that, like, hey, we can't promote for now because of these reasons or something like that. So.
Yeah, I think one thing we should improve is that once a patch is applied, we should definitely have either automated or a checklist to stop the promotions to Canary, because we don't want them overwritten by accident. So I guess I'll open up an issue for that. As far as us not being involved, yeah, I think we're headed that direction. It seems like we're really close to not having to be involved at all in hot patches, and that only an SRE needs to be involved. But to get fully there, I think we're going to have to do some patch game days with the SREs to walk them through the process, because it's still fairly high touch, even with the chat-ups command. So
yeah, I think that's definitely right. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll create an issue where we can start capturing like some of the issues around us, particularly I think on the process stuff, and then we can spin out issues from that based on what actions we actually need to take. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting one. Like, on one hand, to say today, I think it was like really great that a critical security vulnerability could be hot patched, but on the other has caused us like a lot of other problems.
Right. Cool.
Cool. So, Jav.
Sure. So I just wanted to point out that more and more I've been seeing simultaneous staging deploys. There's one, like if you look at the announcements channel, there was one at 7 this morning where we started to, you may see like, you may raise an eyebrow when you see like 2 staging deployments that are starting at the same time. This can cause problems. Usually it kind of works itself out at the end, but I honestly don't really have a good solution for this. You know, resource groups would be really nice to use, which is a CI feature that prevents simultaneous jobs, but it doesn't work if you have like a lot of jobs in a single stage. We could have like, maybe we could use BAG and have like a job that remains running until the environment is done. That's kind of a hack. And I think the ultimate solution is going to be to do this release tools trigger, where, you know, release tools as a coordinator, it triggers the deployer pipeline for a single environment. And then I think the trigger job could just run for the duration of the environment. And if we set a resource group on that, then you can't have 2 triggers that'll run simultaneously. Does anyone have any other ideas for this?
I don't have an idea, but I did post a timeline of when this happened last Friday night, where the second staging deploy actually finished before the first one, and I think it overwrote.
Oh God, yeah, that's really bad. Because what happens is, like, usually the last one to finish will always win, because the last one to finish always sets the chef version. So eventually chef runs will just like start rolling back nodes, whoever the last pipeline to fix. So yeah, so it's pretty bad.
I think
I
what's
don't know.
worse is that we can't rely on QA in situations like this, because we don't know which version QA actually ran against, and that's kind
a
of
really
dangerous.
good point. That's a really good point.
Jarta, I do have an idea. I don't know how feasible it is, but I'm wondering if we could just set a feature flag and have deployer look at that feature flag. If deploy goes out and it's not yet done, flip that feature flag to say true. The next deploy that comes through that says, hey, we need to check this feature flag. Sorry, but there's already a deploy going, so I'm not going to run. I think this is something that console could help us out with, but until then, maybe a feature flag or maybe an environmental variable is more simplistic, since there's a lot of heavy use of bash in place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, like, if you mean like set a CI variable from the pipeline. Is that what you mean? Like store state in the CI variables?
To some extent, yes.
This kind of sucks. I like the feature flag idea, but I don't know if we can do this from Python. Last time I tried, it didn't work because our client library, the public client library, just was never updated to use Unleash the way that we've implemented that wire protocol. So I don't know, but maybe we could just do this. I mean, like, I like to just do it in Ruby so we can make it a standalone thing. Or we just use like a lock file and object storage, or, you know, there's lots of different ways to go about this, I guess.
Inside of chef, setting a chef attribute too.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting
we have
idea.
options. We just need an issue to discuss them all, I think.
Yeah, no, I kind of like that chef idea, because we already disabled the omnibus role when we started deploy. We could just say, like,
maybe if already false, don't
exactly,
deploy, or maybe
yeah.
like wait for an hour and then proceed with a deploy or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
this is actually a great idea, because I think it's a fairly simple change, and if omnibus is already disabled, we shouldn't disable it again, because either it requires manual intervention or there's a deploy in progress. So yeah, let's do that. I like it.
I think the next challenge is going to be what happens when there are 3 deploys that are being attempted, because you've already got one that's waiting and you've got another one that's coming in. He's also going to wait. So what's going to happen next? You need to somehow cancel that second one for that third one to go through. One prime at a time, maybe.
It's a future problem. But you're
I don't
right,
know.
it will happen at some point, yeah.
Scarbeck, wouldn't you just spin and you would just wait for that lock to be released, and then the first CI job to get a hold of the lock would win, maybe? Like, I don't know.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, we can discuss it.
It sounds like a good approach. Jeff, do you want to go ahead and create the issue for that one?
Yeah, I'll create the issue for it.
That's great. But yeah, I think we should get onto that, because there's quite a number of issues around those queuing that is a bit worrying. So it'd be great to get a bit more certainty over that stuff. Awesome. Is there anything else anyone wants to add that they didn't write in the notes? Nope. Cool. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.